call Public Works and Planning Committee order. Mr. Stevens, you want to say a prayer?
I will. Let's pray together. Lord, we're so thankful for your creation, and Father, we're so thankful for this county that we live in, the opportunity that we have to serve our constituents. Father, we're so thankful for this season that we're enjoying, and please always help us to remember the reason for that and to be joyous and to share our joy and our values and possessions with others that might be in need. Lord, I pray that you'll bless us tonight as we consider this information, that we'll make good decisions that are with pure motives. We pray all this through Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We approved the minutes from last meeting.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let the highway department up first tonight.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Brooks. All I have for you this evening is our new road book. Everybody should have had a copy in their mailbox, or there's no real significant differences other than we have cleaned up a few things, found some mismeasurements. It actually decreased by 3 or 4 miles just by remeasuring some of the roads that we had in there measured wrong. So other than that, there's no significant differences.
How often do you guys update this?
Annually.
Annually?
We need a motion to accept the road book, highway department.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Good job.
Planning department.
Evening, Commissioners. First item for consideration tonight is, well, really more for your information, is the subdivision lot inventory that we prepare for you every month. If you look on page 4 of 4, should be the back of the second page, you'll see the available lot inventories at 828 lots. That's actually up a little bit from last month. We've seen it go up the last couple months, actually. Really, that's just because we've been seeing more plats be recorded, final plats. So there are still building permits being issued. It's just right now there's just more lots being recorded throughout some of the subdivisions that we've considered. So it's not a significant amount, but it has gone up just a little bit. And you can see this time last year, 945. Actually the number's correct there. The 1013. I just forgot to change that. It's 1113. So that number is correct. 945 is what we had last year. So you see we're still running ahead of where we were last year. So that's really all I wanted to say about that. If there's no other questions, I'll just go ahead and move on to the zoning report. I only have one item for your consideration tonight, and it's an ordinance amendment. When our zoning ordinance was adopted back in November of 2012, which became effective January 1st, 2013, most of the rules and procedures that were found for the Board of Zoning Appeals in their bylaws were incorporated into the document itself. We just decided to codify that as part of the document. We were looking at the bylaws fairly recently and realized that there were a few things that were still in the bylaws that we wanted to make sure were in the ordinance just for consistency's sake. So what we're doing is just making a series of housekeeping amendments to make those consistent. There's really no significant changes here. The board's role will not change, the way they operate will not change. Really, these are housekeeping as far as staff is concerned. The Planning Commission did have a public hearing, and they did recommend approval of this by unanimous vote. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Anybody got any questions? Motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second that.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then I had a proposal we recently received from TDOT for the long-awaited Dilton-Mankin Manchester Highway traffic signal and turn lane improvements that is finally going to take place. Essentially what it is a standard cooperation agreement between the county and TDOT, the state, that they will construct the improvements, which will be traffic signals and turn lanes. You'll have a southbound turn lane into Delta-Mangan and another southbound coming out of Delta-Mangan, a left turn lane. And it's right on the corner of your district and Mr. Jernigan's district, and also touches Commissioner McAdoo's district. So it's right there at a junction point. The proposal's pretty standard. It's been reviewed by Jim Cope and is a good order. And we just need your input on it.
Are easements being
TDOT
acquired to widen?
TDOT is acquiring the easements, and they are constructing the improvements. And then once everything's constructed, it'll be up to the county's responsibility to maintain the traffic signals and pay the electric bill for the traffic signals.
Been well needed for a long time. There ain't a place as many people live back in there pulling out right now.
There's several subdivisions: Mankinville Estates, Dilton Corners, Watts Lane, Rushbrook, Redwood Estates, and just the list goes on and on that come out that road.
Sometime in the morning, they lined up a mile down there trying to get out of Manchester.
If I might interject on that, if I'm not out of order, is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Eric Hill, before he left here, he started all that Delta-Mangan thing, and it's a TDOT, it's through their spot safety program. This is, I don't know if you're aware or not, this is probably a $500,000 project that's going to cost the county almost nothing. All the county has to do is move the utilities out there, and they're minimal. I mean, very minimal. So it's a big deal. It's a really good thing for Rutherford County with a very small price tag. Just thought I'd let you know that.
Thank you. That being said, I'm eager to make a motion to approve this written.
Second.
And execute and sign all agreements, okay?
As noted.
Anybody anything else to say on it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Is that a
Thanks, Mike.
copy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just a cover letter on the back too.
Thanks for interjecting that, Greg.
You got no way to talk to him, right?
Building code.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Building Codes Department report on the first page at the bottom line shows that we've issued 169 building permits for November. Permit fees taken in was $45,247. Plumbing permits was $5,475. Gas permits, $1,175 for a total of $51,897. Back of the report shows our totals. We've issued 588 single-family dwellings this year. Last year's 11 months was 522, so we're up 61 houses from last year. Total permits issued 2,330. That's up 65 from last year's totals at this time. On our next report is our zoning enforcement. Property maintenance inspections was 64 for November. Our BZA or conditional use permits was 4, signs was 28, a total of 32 inspections in that category. We took in 10 complaints or 10 new cases for November and closed 19 cases. Our development tax collections, next page, $85,500 was taken in by the Building Codes Department and $42,750 by the Planning Department. Total $128,250. Cumulative total $1,252,500. Below that total is each jurisdiction and where the fees was taken in from. But I think Murfreesboro City was a little bit above Rutherford County in November for development tax. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody got any questions on the report? Motion,
Move to approve.
Second.
motion made, second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Landfill and solid waste.
Good evening, how are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. As you can see on the first page of the report is the landfill report. We're a little bit down from what we've been. It's about 2,000 tons last month. Normally we run close to 3,000. We take in less than a month than Middle Point takes in a day. You know, so we've got a little bit of stuff going on there. But the landfill's running in good shape. We've still got some things that we're working on and trying to take care of. The big push for us is to try to let everybody know that we need to recycle better. We need to try to get in the habit of doing the right things at the right time. Middle Point is going to close, so that's going to become an issue for us. If you were to take the amount of garbage that we hauled out of our convenience center operation and our front loader system last month, and if we had paid the disposal for that, we would have paid $93,000 last month in disposal. And last month, this month of November is not the busiest month for us, other than right around Thanksgiving. So we've got some struggles coming, gentlemen. The big, go ahead.
Anything come of the efforts y'all made last month, looking at a new way to dispose, not burning, but
Right, the downdraft gasification. We're still waiting for them to get their permits to get in process, and then we'll go down and visit with them several times.
just need
We
to be
kind of like,
patient.
we kind of like what they're trying to do. We're just wanting to watch and make sure it goes well. We've got a little bit of time. You know, it's not something that we've got to make a change immediately, but we need to start getting ready for it. We've got to get some money set aside somewhere. You know, the schools is looking at building. We've got the Justice Center we're doing, and we're going to have to spend some money to take care of our garbage. So, we've got to figure out where to go with it. Something that we're going to need to talk about is going to be pay as you throw. I think that's the most fair way to do it, to where if you use it, you pay for it. If you don't use it, then you don't pay for it. And that way it's not a property tax thing or anything else. It's just, you'd have to set it up, this is what it costs to operate, and this is how much trash we deal with, and this is what it's going to cost per bag, or, ever how we do that.
pay at the convenience centers or pay at the point of pickup
You'd have
at
to-
the residence?
No, well, I don't see us doing curbside collection. I just don't see that happening. So if you do pay as you throw, you don't want to collect money at the center. We've got Craner Road kind of out in the middle of nowhere, Rock Springs kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You're going to get a center attendant hurt over a few $100s. So I don't think that's going to be the right thing to do. It would be either a bag, You go purchase the trash bags, or you buy a tag that's actually a bag tie, or some kind of label that you would put on the bulk items, and that's what you would use to identify that this has been paid for. And then that's the only thing we would take. You know, that would take a lot of training, a lot of discussion, a lot of information to get it out there to where, you know, all the residents would be prepared. But what that would also require is for the residents to plan ahead. They'd have to pre-plan to have those bags or those tags or whatever that pay mechanism is already in their hand before they show up. And then the other thing that we would have to do that is in conjunction with the city of Murfreesboro. If our centers go to that, then theirs will have to do the same thing. Because if they don't, then all of our trash is going to wind up at their site. You know, so that it's some of those type of discussions that we're going to have. Most of you, or not most of you, but some of you just, you know, all of you are in a new term, which you got roughly 3.5 years of that. By the time the landfill closes, you will be into your 3rd term if you keep getting reelected. If you choose not to, then that's not my problem. Well, it's still a problem. It's something that we've got to address, and we've got to step up and think about it and go ahead and start planning ahead. We cannot wait to the 9th hour to make that decision. We just can't.
So big picture, our recycling, pay as you throw, and this gasification,
The gasification.
which is a huge investment.
That's
Right.
This is the waste to energy thing you were talking about.
Mhm.
And even had a byproduct that's
Yeah.
sellable. So,
Right. Now, what they presented to us was actually a profit center. They were wind up making more money than they cost to do what they
theoretically,
do.
their performance suggests that.
Right.
Is anybody doing it
Nobody's doing it right now.
anywhere?
Right. But they were looking at a large profit. And if we could make it a profit center, that'd be great. If we could just get the 90% reduction in the volume that's being buried, that's a win for us. That's all we need to do. The profit center, then you're gonna have to look at, you know, how's it gonna be managed, who's it gonna work through. My thought would be a waste authority, because you're gonna wind up with the city of Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, Eagleville, and Rutherford County kind of in a partnership deal. So to make that work, it's gonna have to be an entity that everybody supports, but nobody controls. That way the county commission can't step in and say, well, y'all gonna do this. No. The board that controls it will have to make those decisions. But it's those type things are things that we gotta look at. And there are gonna be some hard decisions. But the reason I'm bringing it up is we need to start looking at it and talking about it and getting the general public aware of it well before that time. And then we can do some research on it to where hopefully we can see what others have done and learn from their mistakes. If we wait till the 9th hour to try to do it and throw something together, it's probably going to blow up in our face. And we don't need to wait that long.
Mac, I remember at our last meeting, I think I asked the question about, does the state provide any funds for advertising and taking this issue to the people? And I thought the answer was they do have some money.
They do have some.
Is it, I'm asking the group, is it time to get these gears turning in terms of letting the public know through articles in the paper about where we are on the landfill and about recycling and about some of these options that are coming up? Here's what I'm saying. I think the sooner we get the public involved and let them get familiar with it, and every quarter, every half a year, we see some big blurb about the need and how recycling benefits. I think when we get down to that 9th hour you're talking about, of course we don't want to get there, but I'm thinking we can have something solved before we get to that critical tipping point.
Right. Currently, our interns are working on some public service announcements.
Okay.
The coaches from MTSU, and there's a songwriter and some other people, all the mayors, the city and the county mayors. What we're trying to,
they're singing?
Yeah, the, he didn't know
Jingle,
that.
the recycling jingle.
We do anything it takes to get it.
But we're trying to do little public service announcements, and what we're starting with is hopefully something that's a 15 to 25 second to Coach Stocksdale is talking about recycling, and we need to do this, and stay tuned.
Yeah.
And our whole thing is trying to get everybody, okay, we need to see what Stay Tuned is, and then when it comes time for Stay Tuned, then we've got a presentation that we'll try to run on Channel 19, Channel Murfreesboro 3, and all that.
How are we coming in our public schools with the recycle?
Not very well. I was invited, and that's where the reason I was a little bit early tonight. I went to Christiana Middle School for a teacher in service, and they asked me if I'd come down there and speak with them. And basically, it's the same thing I'm telling you. You know, the landfill is going to close, and we've got to be prepared. And it costs us, you know, a lot of money to do what we do. And when the landfill closes, not only do we have a trash bill that we don't have now, the almost $1 million a year we get from Middle Point goes away. So where's that money going to come from? More than likely, it's going to be either a fee structure or a tax-based type thing. But a lot, you know, they didn't realize that. So those type of communications is what's going to help get that word out. Our problem is we don't have a good way of getting it out. We've got the social media. The girls are doing a Facebook page, which I don't do Facebook, and I think they've got less than 100 people that's following them. You know, so that's not being real successful. We can put something in the Daily News Journal. A lot of people don't read it. Channel 19 is a cable channel. I don't have cable at home. You know, so we really don't have a good way of getting the word out, other than word of mouth.
What's the probability that you have a assertive agenda to go to all the schools? You, personally. Is that possible during
possible.
During the business hours, during school hours? That could be our greatest access to citizens or the students.
And
course,
we can do
talk to
that.
their parents.
Mimi Kiesling does a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, that's what she does. But they wanted to talk about landfills, and Mimi doesn't do much with the landfills. So that's the reason I went.
That's why I was intrigued by. I'm aware of her vital role, but that you coming from that, you can accentuate how important the landfill issue is because of your title.
The problem that we have with getting folks to recycle, it's cheaper for you personally to throw your trash away than it is to recycle.
Yeah.
Free disposal. Throw it in the convenience center, you're finished. You know, so you got to figure that your time is worth something. Even if you're sitting watching your favorite television show, your time is still worth something. So if you're going to recycle at our convenience centers, you've got to get that stuff together. You've got to have it sorted. You've got to put it where it goes. If you get somebody to come by and contract it, you can do it for $10 or $12 a month. It's all in one container. They pick it up and they go. So to me, that's what I do at home. I'd rather do it that way. But you know, either way, we're still recycling. The school systems, our front loader service 5 years ago was picking up 553 dumpsters a week. Now we're picking up 663 dumpsters a week.
More schools on the way.
You know, so and one of the downsides with the schools, the way they're set up, solid waste department doesn't own any front loader containers. They buy their own. So if you wanted to add 10 more dumpsters at your school, you could, and you expect me to dump them. You know, and our operational cost, the last time I figured, is $100 an hour. So with all those dumpsters that we're dumping, it costs us about $12 a nickel to dump one, whether it's full or not. So if they have too many dumpsters on site, then that's an operational cost that we're spending that we shouldn't have to. So I'm in the process of trying to go through and figure out what, and I haven't figured the formula for it yet, but how many yards of trash does 100 students generate? And if we can get that calculation figured, then we should be able to go to the schools and say, you're going to get this much trash service a week. That's all you're getting. Figure it out.
What does MTSU do? Do they have?
They've got their own truck.
Okay. Do they also have a strong recycling program?
They've got a fairly good one going. Linda Hardeman runs that. They've got the unmanned site over on Greenland Drive, and then they've got a lot of things going on within the campus. And then they've got stuff like here in the courthouse where they pick up paper and some other things.
Yeah. Okay. Recycling is just one of those things. It's like exercise. You got to do it continuously to get in the habit. My new wife, yay,
Congratulations.
got married Saturday, yay. She has
Hope he
been,
still says that next year.
yeah, I will. She's a firm advocate in recycling, and she lives maybe 3 miles from the center right near campus. And we go every week. She packs the back of the car with paper, magazines, plastic. You guys don't do glass, right?
They don't, we do.
You do, okay. All right. And I mean, it's just part of our standard operation. It takes 5 minutes.
Right.
It takes 5 minutes. I will tell you, I don't know if it was Black Friday, because we did this on Sunday. I don't know if it was Black Friday or not, but every canister was jammed. Cardboard, I mean, all 3 of the big, it was running over. So at least maybe somebody's spending money. We'll get some of that tax benefit.
Well, a lot of that is right after the holidays, and there's several events that happens during the year that we gear up for.
Yeah.
The weekend after Thanksgiving is always busy.
Mm.
And then the weekend following that is a little more busy than a normal weekend because people have been out of town or whatever, and they're just getting back into town. A lot of people only come on the weekends. Super Bowl Sunday, that following Monday and Tuesday, the glass containers and aluminum containers fill up quickly
Yeah.
because of the Super Bowl parties.
Sure.
Right after Christmas, our paper containers and our cardboard containers fill up really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Haley Road will do more business in the last quarter of the year, from Thanksgiving until February, than they do any other quarter. People get new electronics for Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a world, and we're a wasteful society. I talked to a lady, I guess it's last week. She moved from Davidson County. She's kind of on the north end of the Walter Hill area, and her concern was how trashy the roads are. She said, we just don't see that. And I told her, I said, what you're seeing, you know, because she's come down Jefferson Pike, she's turned up Powers Chapel, she's going down J.D. Todd, you know, all that back in there. I said, what you're seeing once you get off Jefferson Pike is not the garbage trucks. That's your neighbors.
Yeah.
Stop and look at what's in it. It's beverage containers and food stuff that they're throwing out the window. And she said, well, it needs to be picked up more often. I said, okay. We run 2 litter crews. They pick up anywhere from 5 to 7 miles of road a day. There's roughly 1,000 miles of roads in the county. So if we picked up every road in the county, it'd be 200 plus days before we're back to your road again.
Wow. Wonder when the last time the citation was issued for littering.
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, it's a law. It's against the law.
Mhm.
I just wonder when the last time.
But that's something that I guess steering would need to take on at some point is, you know, we need to look at the citations for litter and then the citations for illegal dumping and get that fee structure to where,
It hurts.
yeah, bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's going to be hard to catch them. But when you do catch them, and the other thing is make it public knowledge that Mike Cush got a $1,000 ticket for throwing a cigarette butt out.
Yeah.
That's going to make Steve Piercy think about throwing his out.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe.
How can we help? I mean, how can we get how can we start to get momentum?
That's the hard thing to get out and get in front of the general public. I enjoyed speaking to those teachers. There was, I think, about a dozen of them. All in One is a private company here that does recycling, and we were there together. And most people really, really think that, oh, they're in competition. He's garbage, she's recycling. Well, it's not, because recycling is where we're trying to go. We just come in at it from different ends. From the garbage side of it, it's the economic thing to do. From the recycling side of it, it's the right thing to do. You know, so both of them is the right thing to do, and it really worked out real well. She actually asked me, she said, if I get anybody to go to another school, you gonna go with me? Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, you're trying to get in front of some of these private meetings, you know, the club meetings, and speak to some of those people. We can talk about it for a long, long time, but just trying to get people to change.
Yeah.
And that's the real hard thing to do.
The recycled material that goes to convenience centers is picked up by whom?
Us, our trucks.
Is it taken, where does it take, remind us, I think you've told us before.
Okay,
Where does
it
go?
depends on the commodity, it depends on the location, it
It's
depends on
dispersed,
the
though.
time of the week.
Okay. It's handled.
If it's a load of metal, either scrap metal or tin or aluminum, normally it will go to the closest facility, which either be with Clark, Averett in Laverne, or our Averett and Leanna Express to Laverne. Holidays, Clark's usually closed. So if it's coming from the south side of the county, Averett's usually open. We'll go to Averett with it. So the metals are all here in the county. Plastic we can take to Waste Management in Nashville. They will pay us $30 a ton for a load of plastic. They'll charge us $4 a ton for a processing fee. The load of plastic weighs half a ton. So you'll get $15 plus pay the $4, so you'll wind up with $9 for driving all the way to Nashville. It costs us $100 an hour to drive the truck. So we take it all in one here in Murfreesboro and give it to them. It's cheaper. Glass goes up.
Metal?
Hmm?
What about the metal? Is there
The metal's actually just recently gone down. It was running about $200 a ton. It's about $180, $185 a ton for scrap metal. The glass we have to haul all the way to Rivergate. There's a waste management facility up there that accepts it. They charge us $4 a ton for it. Paper and cardboard products, most all of it goes to what used to be SP Recycling, which is now Caristar in Laverne. So everything with the exception of glass we dump here in the county. But you know, some of it we had to pay to get rid of it, and of course cardboard and paper and the metals generate revenue. You know, so if you look at it, you know, you're paying $4 a ton to take it to Nashville to get rid of it when you can take it to Middle Point and dump it for free. Yes, we are. But we're trying to get everybody in that habit. And if we were letting them separate it and then take it to Middle Point and dump it anyway, oh Lord, there'd be a mutiny. You know, so we're trying to do the right thing with it and get everybody used to it. So we're spending a little money that we technically don't have to, just to be prepared for the future.
If the schools had a vibrant recycling program, you would still have to pick it up and take it through the same processes.
That's great.
As opposed to just dumping it.
Mm-hmm. And see where we're headed with the schools and what's making me nervous about, you know, the school board wanting to add on schools. Right now we're running 2 front loader trucks 5 days a week. One runs recycle, one runs trash. They run 40 hours a week each. So we spend roughly $8,000 a week to run those 2 trucks. The trash route is just about as full as it can be. You know, so we discussed the possibility of not servicing the new Overall Creek School, but we went in and took that one on. So as they continue to add and they don't recycle any better, because the recycle route has more room to grow as far as the volume on the truck, we're going to wind up putting another garbage truck and a man on the street.
For another,
that's another $4,000.
$4,000 a week.
Yeah, $4,000 a week right there just to service them. You know, we try to run efficiently as we can. We didn't run any school trash Thursday, of course, was Thanksgiving. We didn't run it all. Friday, we didn't run the schools. We just ran the shut-ins. And the shut-ins is the nursing home, Paws, the jail, the workhouse, and juvenile detention. You know, because those things have to be serviced anyway. And the rest of the drivers was running convenience center roll-off trucks. When school's closed for Christmas, normally what we will do is go in that first week when they close, we'll run our Monday route and our Tuesday route, and we won't run them again until Thursday and Friday of the second week. This time, we're probably not going to run the schools until the Thursday and Friday of the second week. Because what happened to us there at the schools is if we dump them and get them clean, all the public will fill them back up. If we leave them full, most of the time they won't leave the trash, they'll go somewhere else with it.
Do you get any participation out of the jail and the judicial system on recycling?
They both try to recycle some. The jail doesn't. We don't run our front loader truck for recycling over there at all. When they started their new kitchen facility and had to shut everything down, nobody thought about the trash side of it. The jail was going 3 days a week with 3 dumpsters, and the workhouse was going 3 days a week with 1 dumpster. So when they started that process and all the food getting prepared at the workhouse, we had to start going on Saturdays as well as at the workhouse, and then we had to start going every day of the week, and including Sunday at the jail, to keep them up. And then after they got the new kitchen, it continued that way, and I told them, I said, we're not coming 7 days a week. You need to start recycling, you need to do something. So they bought 4 more dumpsters. So now they have 7. So we go over there 3 days a week for those 7 dumpsters. Now if you figure trash, the industry standard is 4 yards of trash equals 1 ton. Theirs got a lot of styrofoam in it, so it won't quite if you figure what it costs me to operate the truck plus $30 a ton disposal, the jail would cost us $78,000 a year just to dump their trash. You know, so that's some of the things that we've got to look at, trying to get them better. You know, they could recycle, they do their own recycling on cardboard. They've got somebody that picks that up, and what they're doing with that is they're trying to keep the revenue themselves, which is okay. They collect pallets and sell those. Occasionally we'll need pallets at Haley Road, so we'll call them and tell them we need some pallets, and they'll bring us some. You know, so we try to work together. They've got a metal container over there for their food cans and that type of stuff. We haul that for them. You know, so we try to provide the good service for everybody, but it's getting more and more expensive, and we're going to have to try to tighten that belt somehow. And I don't have the answer to that somehow yet. You know, I'd love to be able to walk up to the schools and say, this is what you're going to do. We tried that. We didn't have too much success with it.
Well, Rutherford County, Rowan County, Macon, you know, continue to grow, so it ain't gonna get no easier.
No. But we can get better control of it.
Do you feel like you're understaffed now, today?
We're actually okay. We've got a few unfilled positions. Got a driver that's out that injured himself at home. It's not a workman's comp type thing, so he's gonna be out until March. We'll run a few drivers overtime occasionally just to make up and clear that difference. The thing that kind of hurts us, if you get staffed up for the busy times, and then when it gets slow, then you have nothing for them to do. So you either run them out of vacation and sick time, or you send them home without pay, or you try to farm them out doing other things. And we've done some of that. That's how we got started running the litter crews. We had a driver that didn't have a whole lot to do, and they needed a litter crew driver, so we took it on, trying to help them out, and we wound up with it. So it's one of those things, sometimes when you help somebody, you wind up with it, so that's okay too. But no, I think we're staffed okay. We're one convenience center attendant short right now, so we need to hire one more to fill that, and that won't give us any extra people. Landfill, we've got 2 unfilled positions out there, because we've got the contractor working. We may need to revisit that and do something on our own there. We're not sure which direction we're going to go. But I think staffing, we're okay. We're budgeted. All those positions that are unfilled are fully budgeted. It's just by choice we've not filled them. I'm just trying to not spend that money.
Those openings at the landfill, will they have to be filled by a professional or just an average person?
If you get an average person, then you got a lot of training process. If you can get somebody that knows the business and already done it, and then you'll be better off. If we go that direction, you know, there's some well-trained people out there that we could possibly get.
What position is that, Steve?
At the landfill, 2 operators. Landfill is budgeted to have 4 full-time employees. We only have 2. And we've got a contractor that does all our dirt movement. He's actually pushing trash for us. Part of that decision is, right now he'll run a D8 dozer for $75 an hour. And when we did the calculation to have 2 people, because you have to have a backup, we're not sure we can run ours for $75 an hour. You know, so it's one of those, you know, do you fill them or not?
His dozer for $75 an hour?
His dozer, his man, his fuel, his maintenance, everything.
You're sending him a Christmas
Does he have a
gift.
brother?
And that bid comes up this spring.
Does, do you have access, and do you chat with your counterparts, and I'm thinking some of the bigger counties, Hamilton County, Montgomery County, Knox County?
Pete Reed's at Bi-County Landfill, which is Montgomery County and Stewart County together. The good thing about the Solid Waste Directors Association, they put you in contact with all those people.
A lot of smart people.
Yeah, and a whole lot smarter than I am, and they've been in it for a long time. And most all of those, if you call them and ask them a question, if they don't know the answer, they know who does, and they lead you in the right direction. Our last meeting was in October, and I was elected to be the Middle Tennessee Chair for the Solid Waste Directors Association. It's divided into 3 grant divisions, so there's not just one chairperson. So we've got a meeting Thursday in Jackson. And what discussing is the new changes from TDEC into the solid waste rules. Yeah, some of those are gonna be a struggle. Any questions?
Appreciate
We
the
approve
motion.
this report.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
Stephen made a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then we've got the financial assurance. It should be on there, I don't know how to operate this thing.
What's its headings they call financial assurance?
It's, it should be
Amendment to-
in lieu of, it's an amendment, yes, in lieu of bond.
In lieu of performance bond.
Mhm.
It's in the landfill report.
And what this is something we do every year, in lieu of having a bond, like Middle Point Landfill has to, when they take in their money, they have to set a certain percentage aside to when the landfill is closed for its post-closure care. Their post-closure care is 50 years, so they're going to have a lot of money in that pool. The county doesn't have that. We'll just do the amendment, and we don't actually have the money. It's just, we're saying that we promised the money. The solid waste fund balance is enough to cover it, but it goes down every year. It gets less and less.
So what are you asking us to do?
Asking to, for the county commission to approve the amendment to send to the state for their agreement.
The motion approved, send.
Forward it to budget.
You shall have to vote on
We're
Didn't
gonna
need to
forward
go-
it to budget, she said first.
Right.
that. Well, I move that we approve the request.
Second.
Anybody got any questions on it before we vote? All in favor? That's all I have. We vote, right?
Again, Mac, thanks for
Yeah.
being thorough, very competent.
Thank y'all. It's just, we've got to get the word out, and just by keeping quiet is not gonna help us, so we've got to
Yeah.
be boisterous.
I'm still trying to wrap my hands around how to do that, to get the word out.
I don't know. And we don't have one single media outlet to do that. And it's the same struggle for everybody here in the county. I'm hoping the PSAs, if we do a good enough quality job on them, we can probably run them on Nashville public television. I don't know if we'd have to pay for that or not, but if we do, we'll just need to do a budget amendment, put some more advertising money in it. Because we're gonna have to spend some money to make all this happen.
How many are in your little group for the media or the PSA blitz? You talked about some volunteers, I think, at Redeem Tissue or something like that.
We've got 2 interns that are working with us, and then Colonel Davidson and Brian Robertson, OIT, are kind of directing them.
Okay.
But they're trying to get some, the politicians, and then some of the coaches, and then just some everyday people,
Yeah.
you know, to where we, you know, really get you to thinking about it.
All right.
We're looking at possibly wrapping trucks and putting some signage up. You know, the downside to signage, nobody reads it until they make a mistake. You know, you can't put that over there, there's the sign, oh, I didn't see the sign, okay. But part of the challenge is just trying to deal with the public and get them to do what we need them to do. What, 2-3 months ago, we had a center attendant that called me on a Sunday. He'd left work, checked on his wife, she'd been in the hospital, and he'd gotten to work, and it's one of those centers that had 2 people working. He thought, I need to go home and check on her. He went back home and checked on his wife, she's dead. His son works at the Las Casas Convenience Center. So we were doing what we could to try to get, you know, of course, the dad, he stayed at home. So we called literally right next door, one of our employees lives next door. Can you go to work? Yep, come on my way. Called the guy to go to Las Casas, I'll be there as quick as I can. We had a driver on the way. Commissioner Piercy showed up during that time and ran the center until we got there.
Everybody ought to stop by and run one for an hour. It's an eye opener for what those men have to do.
They take a lot.
They do. They well earn their money.
You know, and some of you commissioners don't even have one in your district, but if you go visit on a Sunday,
I'll loan you either one of mine. I bet.
but you spend an hour on Sunday afternoon, and it's really eye opener. One Sunday afternoon, I ran the one at Christiana Fosterville, which is literally the slowest one we have. When we did the car count weekly, they had roughly 3,500 cars in 3 days. Christiana had 250. So I had plenty of time to talk to people, but roughly 90% of the people that came in did not recycle. Now, you could mention it to them, let them know that we've got all the places for them. Okay, I need to start doing that. But had a guy call me from out at Epps Mill. This is about a month ago. He said, this center attendant's trying to get me to recycle. I never have, and I never will. I said, well, you may never have, but the direction we're going, you will if you're going to use it. He hung up on me. But
Do you think you could maybe get any of the local grocery stores to get on your campaign to recycle and maybe get something in their grocery bag or on the back of their receipt or on a grocery bag?
probably
You
could.
know, I think you're gonna have to hit the adults. The adults is who's gonna do it.
Right.
The children will go home and say, Mommy, we need to recycle. Not now, honey, not now.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have to target the adults pretty
And part
hard.
of TDEC's plan, like on our landfill, the C&D landfill, is they don't keep a lot of track of what comes in and on a yearly basis. They used to, but they quit last year. They dropped the mechanism, so we didn't report what we took last year. But part of their process is thinking that they need to charge us a fee that we pay the state to where we pass that fee along to the customer, so if the customer's paying more, they'll recycle more. That'll work with some, but not everybody.
Yeah.
You know, you got some people, I don't care what it costs, I've got the money, I'm gonna do it my way. Okay, you're not gonna change those people, but 95% of the ones you'll get changed. Pay as you throw, I think will change a lot. But it's gonna take a lot of communication, a lot of training. We can't just pull that switch off, within a day or two. We've been dealing with trying to get the schools to recycle better for 5 years. And they're still running, yesterday was 11%, the day before was 18%.
I think I have a solution to that.
What's that?
We tack that into their budget appropriation.
The only way that's gonna work is if you take it all the way down to the individual school level to where the principal controls it. And if he recycles better, then he's gonna be able to use that money somewhere else. If you do it at the board level, then they're just gonna pay the bills along. We're still taxpayer dollars, whether it's coming out of my budget or theirs. I think if we get heavy-handed enough and say, this is the way, if you're gonna get our service for free, this is the way you're gonna do it. And if they don't wanna do it for free, good luck with Mr. Odom coming before you and saying, I need $500,000 because I don't wanna do what Mac wants to do. So I doubt y'all gonna give it that. Thank you.
To be continued.
Anybody got anything else?